Evening, everybody, and thank you very much for joining me once again to another episode of Getting to Know the Detectorist. And tonight, you've got this secret agent with his mini. What do you call that thing?
Hat cam.
Mini hat cam. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Mr. MichaelSwan66. Please, sir, raise your head and be acknowledged.
How's it
Michael,
going?
thank you very much for joining me tonight, man. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Now, since we're busy with all this jackassery, um, let me jump into the first question. That's the first question.
Oh, okay.
Explain your headgear, please.
Explain my headgear. Okay, well, a few years ago, I got a few comments on different ways to improve the video quality. The shooting technique. Because I used to mount it on my shaft on my detector, and then I get a lot of comments with people getting seasick from the camera going back and forth.
Right now, I can
And the
understand. Yeah.
scoop wasn't an option because if you put it on the scoop, then you can hear every little grain of sand when you dig the scoop into the sand. So someone suggested like a hat cam. So I went to the hardware store and uh, got a bolt that would fit and match up. Put it on. Tried it on a few hunts. Got major laughs at the beach. And everybody, as it is, as your detector, when you go out there, everybody's already looking at you kind of funny anyways to begin with. And when you go down there like with this on your head, it's even worse. So there were only like two videos that had this kind of camera shooting angle
Yeah.
uh, on it, and then the hat went bye bye. So and it only comes out at night. It's got lights on it, so
Oh,
I
my
can hunt.
word.
So for night hunts, it's okay.
Awesome.
But when you got 1,000 people on the beach, it tends to stay at home. I don't use it as much. It takes great film. It's a perfect technique for shooting, but not so good when you're trying to lay low.
When did this whole hobby, this digging in the ground, like a dog looking for a bone, I don't know if you used that before, when did this whole thing start for you?
Okay, let's see. It's about 4 years ago. I was on YouTube. I don't know why I looked it up or how I got there. Um, there's a fella by the name of Kind Grind 360. It's Kind Grind 360. He goes by the name Crack Badger, and he had a video on Ace 250 and showed all the rings and stuff that he'd been finding. And I think that's what initially started it for me. I'd wanted to do metal detecting years ago, but never got around to actually doing it. I saw that video and decided to go and get me one, and the rest is all history from there on. He doesn't do very many videos anymore. He's probably done maybe like 6, 12 videos, but the few that he has had were phenomenal. The amount of stuff that he finds was just incredible. To see all the rings and things that he'd go out and stay out all night and hunt the beaches all night, and would travel to different exotic beaches and stuff and hunt there.
Mhm.
He would cash in his treasures and then purchase airline tickets and go with a buddy to some foreign place and detect those beaches. And
Wow.
it's just wild.
What was your favorite or is your favorite find so far?
I'd say you guys. You guys are my favorite find, and that and my metal detector itself. Those are probably my two most prized finds.
Now, why would you consider viewers or the metal detecting community in its whole entirety as a great find?
It's just the what everybody finds. How helpful everybody is. Um, the history from all over the world, I think, is the best part of it. You know, Finding out what other people are finding from different parts of the world, and it's that's the greatest thing.
Now, Michael, looking at all you found, what is the one thing that you would really like to find?
I hate to be like redundant and say like everybody else says, but a gold coin, a gold coin is like high on the list. Even though I found gold rings and stuff, a gold coin, or maybe a Morgan silver dollar, or
Uh,
anything seeded. Seeded is almost impossible to find out this far west in California, but it. Uh, my co-hunting buddies, 805 Dig Dug,
oh yeah,
he found one. Um, Locally
a
here, which
gold
is pretty
coin
mine.
or
No, no,
seeded
no,
coin.
a seeded dime,
Ah, okay.
1855, and
Mm.
he found it in a junior high school picnic area, less than 10 minutes away from the house. So I guess that's even possible. Uh, I didn't. The machines that I bought initially were for land hunting,
Hmm.
and I figured that that was I wanted to be a coin shooter and go for silver coins and relics and things like that. Wasn't finding a lot of those, so then I kind of changed it up and switched to beach hunting, knowing full well I kind of factored in what the area provided, what I could potentially find, and since I wasn't finding a lot of those like older coins and historical stuffs,
Hmm.
I kind of switched gears and went to beach hunting because we have bunches of beaches here. So primarily that I hunt the beaches. So I'm probably not going to find a gold coin down there. The silver coins that we do find are unrecognizable. They look like English hammered coins. You know, can't really read them, paper thin. Um, but yeah, I would say probably something either seeded, a gold coin, or maybe a Morgan silver dollar.
After all the time hunting, uh, since I know exactly what you use, I would like you to explain to the people watching this what type of equipment, what kind of equipment do you use for your hunts?
Well, let's see. I have Ace 250. It's like kind of my go-to one. Some summer hunts, dry sand, semi-wet sand. I've got White Spectrum XLT, which I use for my land hunts. I have a Excalibur 2, which is my primary water detector for wet sand.
Mm.
Um,
That's a mind
uh,
lab.
Mine Lab, yes.
Mm.
Scoop, I have a RTG aluminum sand scoop. Works pretty good. For land hunts, I have like a kind of like a Home Depot digging trowel.
Hmm.
That even though I also have a Lesh, but I used it a few times, but not really comfortable with it yet. So I tend to use the other one. I think it's like an 8-in-1 tool or something. They're like $20. Just very comfortable in your hand
Hmm.
to use. For I use a fanny pack most of the time, both land and while beach hunting. Yeah, it's like we rock fanny packs.
Oh, I
Yeah,
was trying to
fell
keep
out of fashion, but we brought them back into fashion. So yeah, fanny pack always got to have a fanny pack.
even though
Um,
that's so, I would say 90s, it's so, what's the word I'm looking for? It works.
oh yeah,
It actually, there's nothing better than you could, that you can use. I need to control myself. That's so 80s. I can just, that's 80s actually, not
oh
90s.
yeah,
That's
oh yeah.
80s.
You can
Yeah.
go to just about any thrift store and you can pick one like two or three of them up for like a buck or two. So
Uh,
yeah, they're great because they fell out of fashion. They're in abundance.
yeah, I understand, but they're versatile and they actually perfect for the. Excuse me. They're perfect for the purpose.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant, man. Now you use your Ace 250 on the beach.
Hmm.
What about your other detectors? Do they function that well on the beach, or is the Ace 250 the one that you prefer for that hunting?
No, well, the Ace 250 will do really well, both dry and wet. You have to kind of adjust the Ace 250. You'll have to change the sensitivity because when you transition from dry sand to wet sand, it will sound off. It'll give you a false. false signal. Um, so like when you drop down into wet sand or shallow water, you have to drop it down to like three, maybe four, depending upon where you're hunting, how the mineralization is, to have it function properly. But for the first 2 years, I used that solely and primarily, and found some of my best finds ever with that. And cheapest machine, best finds that I've ever found is with the Ace 250. So I hold it high amongst the best detectors, even though it's a relatively inexpensive one. But since I got the Mind Lab Excalibur 2 and spent all that money on it, I kind of have to justify its purchase by using it primarily.
Well, Michael, there's a video that I've seen. I can't remember the name. Maybe you can help me. Where you did a roundup for the past 4 years that you've detected, that you've seen, that you found on the beach. It's this massive collection. Maybe not in your eyes, with regards to all the hours that you've put into finding all of it, but this massive collection of jewels, which you can find in 4 years. Now, if you put all that, all those precious items together and you melt it down, well, not gold and silver melted together, but I mean, if you melt it down or if you sell it, would you be able to recover your costs finding them in terms of time?
I would think so.
I think so as well. Well, say for instance, your other machines are uh, not available. Let's just keep it there. I wanted to think about a fancy excuse. Would you be able to use the Mind Lab Excalibur on dry land in, say for instance, a park or a plowed field?
Actually, yeah, you can. You can use it that way. Deep Digger Dan did a video recently where he was using one while he was, I think he went back to Germany, and he
Ah,
was, they
yes.
lent him one,
Okay.
and he was just using that on land like all get out, and he was finding stuff. So I have used it on land. There's one particular place. Where you transition from the land and you park. It's a beach I don't hunt very often, but you kind of go through an old World War II Army recreational camp, and you go through that to get to the beach. And one day I saw some of the rangers there that were working the park, and I went up and I asked him. I said, "Hey, would it be all right if I detected here?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, go for it." So, and all I had was that with me at the time. So I just decided, well, heck, I got permission. I might as well try it out. And yeah, I was finding stuff fairly well. Yeah, the only thing is you don't have the the number reading.
Ah,
You
the
have no
screen, the
digital
display.
reading,
Yeah.
so it's all off sound. But that's you get used to that doing the beach hunt, so you can kind of sort of get a feel of what might be there before you dig it just from the sound.
Well, I'm sure you'll agree with me here, but after after detecting for a while and getting to know your machine, you don't really look at the screen. You rely on the sound of the
Oh yeah.
signal. That's my experience. I don't want to say that's what, but I'm sure you'll agree. That's the same thing. So you don't really need a display indicating the frequency that this is a 52, 56, 52.
Yeah.
Um, you go on the signal and based on the ground that you or the area that you're detecting in, whether it's a park or a field, you'll be able to determine that signal would signify that that thing is about 2 inches deep and it might be something nickel or pull tab. Let's take a chance and let's dig it out. Michael, your avatar, it's a shiny silver helmet. I almost said thimble. Tell us more. Why did you choose that avatar picture?
Okay. Well, Gladiator, Russell Crowe,
That's it, Gladiator.
Gladiator. Um, Originally, when I first set up my channel, I had made an avatar photo from a scene from Gladiator where he was in the arena and he was holding a shield and a sword, and I superimposed a Morgan silver dollar over his shield and an Ace 250 where his sword was, and was going to use that as my channel was the Gladiator, but There was somebody else that had done videos where they talked about someone being the gladiator for the day who had found most clad, and I thought, well, that would be in bad taste to take that away from them since they
Mm.
had been using it prior to me knowing it. So, but the avatar of the helmet stuck, and once I'd been on for a while, I just left it. So because when you've got your subs or whatever, that's how you recognize them when you're at a quick glance is through their avatar.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
kept that avatar, and that's basically how it started.
That's actually a cool name, the Gladiator. Gladiator. Now,
I find a lot of clad too.
yeah, but that's something that you can just put back into circulation, if I'm not mistaken, and if the sea hasn't eaten it all.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at people starting or looking at the hobby and want to join the hobby, what advice would you give them with regards to equipment choice, areas to hunt, permissions, whatever you think would be relevant? What advice would you give them?
Uh, some of the other guys that you've interviewed have said the same thing. I wouldn't go out and spend $2,000 right off the bat until you
Hmm.
know that you want to do it for certain. Um, because that's a lot of money to put in if you're gonna not enjoy it and
Yeah.
then have to recoup your losses. I would I For me personally, I'd say the Ace 250 is the best way to go. It's cheap, it's versatile. You can hunt land or sea, with it. So I would say start with an Ace 250. The next thing I would say, find out what your area has as far as, do you have mostly beaches? Do you have like history? What are you trying to find? That's important. If you want to, be a coin shooter, you want to find relics or whatever. So kind of determine what it is you're looking for before you start, um, and find out, like I said, what areas, what your area has to offer, because you're not going to find certain things in certain places. So I would say, yeah, start with a nice, inexpensive machine like the 250 Ace, Garrett Ace 250, um, and be persistent. Patience, persistence, and perseverance. Stick with it. Go as often as you can. Uh, a good set of headphones. That's always nice. When you first start out, it's kind of intimidating. You get a little weirded out by people looking at you funny. But it
Mm,
seems like when
mm.
you have a good set of headphones, you pop those things on, and the world just kind of melts away, and you kind of let you focus more on the hobby. And plus, when you got those on, people don't tend to come up and bug you as much.
Exact. Oh man, you've said exactly what I wanted to add to what you were saying. Uh, it's like these things make everybody disappear around you. They could stand
Yeah.
there and stare at you. And I've had that experience when I went to the beach. People will actually follow you around just to catch a glimpse of what you're digging out. Now, what made you decide to upload your videos or your experiences onto YouTube? Why did you start to do that?
I would say it's because originally when I first started watching all these videos and everybody's channels, I was watching them, and I felt bad just watching and not contributing. So initially it was listening, some of the guys that were helping me out when I'd leave messages and offering me advice, really great advice, which helped considerably. I didn't know anybody around here that detected, so it was kind of like on my own, and it was really difficult. It was challenging. Um, I think it took me 6 months to find my first wheat scent, So, but then as I was making comments on these other guys' videos, they were right there to help out and offer advice. And some of them were like Google Earthing places around where I live, and they're on the East Coast, trying to find spots that I might want to check out or to help me out. They were so helpful. So I basically started filming videos to show them what I was finding, And,
Ah, okay.
then it was more like, well, maybe I can contribute something myself. So kind of giving back, basically.
Michael Swan! We love you. Please keep on doing great videos and being a great addition to this community. And this is how I normally sound. Peace out and bye, everybody.
Peace out, everybody. Thanks.
Bob from blah 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 blah. Fuck. Were you just hunting for a gold nugget? And all the jewelry. An impossible word to say this time at night.
Oh, la la la. I can't help.
Focus, man. This is professional, man. Man, that was so entertaining. Oh, Michael, thank you for your patience. Only you can laugh at that. It's total failure. Don't laugh. Okay. Sorry, Mike. Now you can go ahead. Go ahead. Oh. What was I gonna? Oh man. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And I hit a blank. Michael? Okay, I'm gonna try that again.